Hello and welcome to this week's webinar on the Garmin Force Trolling Motor. I'm Dow Thornton with Garmin International. As always, if you have any questions about this webinar, please send an email to marine.training@garmin.com. Please, in the subject line, put Force Trolling Motor and we'll get those questions answered and get back to you as soon as we can. So with the Garmin Force Trolling Motor, this trolling motor was about a 3-year design project, maybe a little longer. There's a lot of good trolling motors out there on the market, and we wanted to make sure that ours was going to be the most powerful and efficient in the market. And we introduced one of the first brushless motors that operates both quietly above and below the waterline. Garmin is known as a GPS company, so we wanted to give our force trolling motor precise boat control powered by a Garmin GPS. Of course, we wanted to make it wireless, so it connected to our Chartplotters as well as our foot pedal and remote wirelessly. We wanted to add leading Sonar Integration, as well as make it both robust and reliable. So it is backed by a 3-year limited warranty and a limited lifetime warranty on the shaft, and we'll talk about that in a few slides. So when you purchase a force trolling motor, you're getting a complete system. You're going to get the foot pedal as well as the remote. So those will wirelessly talk to the and control the force trolling motor. And then via Wi-Fi, you can talk to the Garmin compatible chart plotter and control it as well. So the force trolling motor basically comes in 2 models, basically a 50-inch shaft, which is equivalent to the competitor's 45-inch shaft. And then there's a 57-inch model, which is equivalent to the competitor's 52-inch shaft. Both shaft lengths come in 24 and 36 volt. So what I'm saying is that there's internal switching built in. So all you need to worry about is what shaft length you need, 50-inch or 57-inch. Then you can run either 24 volt or 36 volt. We don't care. The trolling motor actually senses how many batteries you have hooked up, and then it'll either provide 24 volt worth of power or 36 volt worth of power. So in the box, you're going to get the trolling motor, the foot pedal, the remote, the prop, stabilizer, all your mounting hardware, and of course your documentation. So speaking of the warranty, again, this trolling motor has a 3-year limited warranty, and it now includes salt water as well as brackish water. So no worries. I actually use mine in salt water. I've been testing the motor for about a year, and I've had absolutely no issues out of it. So fresh water, salt water, as well as brackish water, 3-year warranty and limited lifetime warranty on the shaft. So let's take a look at some of the features on the force trolling motor. So during testing, we basically tested everybody's motor. And what we found is that there's really no standards out there. Basically, you can put any pounds thrust on the motor you wanted, and there's really no way to prove it. So what Garmin did is we used the ISO international standard 13342, and that's actually how you measure static thrust on outboard motors. So basically, we took all the competitors, all the leading motors out there, and tested them with the force trolling motor, all using this ISO 13342 test. And what we found was that our 36 volt motor was basically almost 30% more powerful than the competitor's motor. What kind of shocked me, I know, was that the 24 volt operated as well, or if not better, than most of the 36 volt motors out there. And that was kind of one of the main reasons I went with a 24 volt motor. I don't have the room for a third battery, and I don't really want the weight of a third battery. So I have my boat rigged 24 volt right now, and I can do, in a current with 3 people on board, almost 5 miles an hour. So it's plenty strong for me. It's actually stronger than any 36 volts I've ever used. And if I do get another boat or do want to go up to a 36 volt, I can just add another battery, and then bam, my trolling motor automatically goes up to 36 volt. So, you're going to save money if you can get away with just running 24 volts, so you don't have to purchase a third battery. And of course, the weight. So it's again 24 or 36 volt internal switching. So a couple big benefits of having a brushless motor. One is longer run time. During our testing, we found that our 36 volt motor operated about 30% longer run time than the competitor's 36 volt motor. And again, the big surprise, the 24 volt operated about 60% longer. So again, on my boat, I was normally getting, 6 to 7 hours out of batteries. And now I can get 10 plus on a set of batteries, before I have to come in and do a charge. So it means more time out on the water and less charges on those batteries. And we all know the more times you discharge your batteries and have to recharge them, that life of that battery is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. So brushless motor, I believe, in the next couple of years, every trolling motor out there on the market is going to be brushless. There's just too big of a benefit of having a brushless motor. The other big advantage of a brushless motor is it's super quiet, both above and what you really need below the waterline. And, being brushless and being quiet, probably the number one issue that I see, or what I used to hear when I'd go to tournaments, is, hey, when I turn my trolling motor up high, I get sonar interference and just fuzz all over the screen. Well, that's because you're not running a brushless motor. Brushless motor has no moving parts in it, so you have nothing to cause interference. So we tried to introduce interference into the sonar. We jacked the gains up. We ran it from low speeds, high speeds, and we could not get interference into the sonar screen. So that's a huge benefit of having a brushless motor. So of course, with a brushless motor, we can integrate sonar built in. So with the Force Trolling Motor, it comes with a GT54 in the foot of the motor. That GT54 is our UHD, our ultra high def transducer. It has a high wide chirp capability, as well as clear view and side view. And of course, that ultra high def, that side view is running that 1200 kilohertz frequency. So you're going to get super crisp pictures. It does have a built-in cable management system on the side for running your transducer cable and your power cable, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the big thing I want to tell you is it does have a user serviceable nose cone here. So you can actually remove this transducer. This transducer, the cable goes through the shaft of the trolling motor and comes out here. So if you have a different Garmin transducer you like, feel free, add it. If you run a competitor's Chartplotter and you want to run a Force Trolling Motor, you can put any competitor's transducer on the bottom. We have replaceable nose cones that'll hold a blank transducer, and then you can run the cable up the shaft and run it, no problem. So one of my favorite features of the trolling motor is the LED display on the bracket, on the face of the bracket. This is something I'm constantly looking at. I know when I was using competitors' motors for many years, I constantly had to look around to see what that motor was doing. Was my anchor lock on? Was my trolling motor running? What speed was I going at? What's my battery life? Where are my batteries? Are they charged? How long do I have? So the nice thing about this display, you've got a couple of key features when you look at it. So you have a battery indicator right here. So this light turns green when you have a full charge. It turns yellow when you're at 50%, and it turns red when you're at 10% or less. So when it's red, you need to get back to the dock and charge those batteries. The center green light is your GPS indicator. So when it locks green, you're locked onto the GPS. The light on the far right is your pairing. So this tells me if that trolling motor is paired to the foot pedal on the remote. Okay, when you turn the trolling motor on, it goes green and it's paired. So here's the button to turn the trolling motor on. It's the only button you need to on the motor that you actually press. So if you press this button in, these lights will all go green. You're good to go. If this light wasn't green, you can hit this button 3 times. This light will turn blue, and then you can pair your foot pedal or remote. You have your current operational mode. This tells you if that light's on, we know that motor is running. You have your anchor lock. So if you're on anchor lock, your anchor will be lit up. You have your heading hold light right here. So if you want to run a certain heading or down the bank at a certain course, you can hit that button. You can hit the button on your trolling motor or on your remote or your foot pedal, and this light will come on. And then the big one here is your power indicator. This tells you what speed you're going. So if this tells me if I'm going at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 10. And so I'm constantly looking at this. If I'm running, about 30%, I'll have that three lights lit up. And then if this light is lit, I know that motor's running. So it's real easy to look down and know exactly what that trolling motor's doing. So when we designed the motor, we wanted to make sure that mount was very robust and reliable. So if you haven't had a chance to look at the Garmin Force Trolling Motor, your first appearance, you may say, man, that's a big bracket. Well, we designed the bracket to be very, very, like I said, robust. If you notice, our force trolling motors don't have a breakaway. So what we found during testing, and again, we tested everybody's motors, the more times we hit a rock or a stump and that motor broke away, it would do it easier and easier and easier to a point where it didn't really want to even stay down. So, with the force trolling motor, it will not break away. If you hit a stump or a rock, it basically has, I'm going to kind of like a crumple zone in a car. It's designed to flex at the joint. So it'll flex here, here, and here. So if you do hit a rock or a stump, that flex will go up the shaft to the servo right here and then through the mount. So that's why the mount's a little beefier than the competitors. It's designed to flex, and it's designed that way. We also added 2 stainless steel gas strut helper springs. This is a very easy trolling motor to lift and deploy one-handed. The cable management guides we spoke about, that's these channels on both sides of the force trolling motor. That's for the power cable, transducer cable. You can even run your live scope cable up that cable management guide. So now when you deploy that trolling motor, you don't have to worry about pinching any cables. One of the coolest features of the trolling motor is this park feature. With everybody else's trolling motor out there, when you bring that trolling motor up to lay it down on the boat, you always have to hit that foot pedal remote to turn that prop so it'll lay down in the boat. Well, with the force trolling motor, you can actually pre-program that trolling motor for that prop to turn inside the boat or outside of the boat. So 2 things that this motor does when you lift it out of the water. As soon as that motor comes out of the water, it automatically shuts off. Second thing it does is it automatically parks itself. So that prop will turn port or starboard so you can lay it down in the boat. So just grab the motor, lift it up, it cuts off, it turns to the right direction so you can lay it down. And again, with those cable management guides, you won't pinch any of your cables. So the trolling motor, there's basically 3 ways to control the trolling motor. The first one is the foot pedal. This comes with the force trolling motor. It's already pre-programmed and married with the trolling motor, so you don't have to pair anything. It feels and steers just like a cable steered pedal. There is an adjustment screw on the side where you can adjust the tension of that pedal. We ask you, give it about 5 to 10 hours of use so that pedal kind of will break in before you make any adjustments. The pedal is designed to fit in a standard footwell on most boats. It's ran by 2 AA batteries. So those 2 AA batteries, you'll get about a year worth of fishing out of that. It's designed so when you take your foot off the pedal, it automatically goes into sleep mode. But it does come with the hardwire. So if you do want to hardwire that foot pedal to your batteries, no problem. But again, it does run off 2 AA's, and usually you'll get about a year worth of fishing out of that. And again, it is waterproof IPX7 rating. It also comes with the remote control, and this is paired out of the box already. This is a full color sunlight readable transflective display. And basically we're using the same display we use in many of our watches. So what the transflective display means is that in the bright sun, when you take that out, and of course you're going to be in direct sunlight most of the day, that screen's going to actually get brighter. So you'll have no issues reading that screen. On the screen, you're going to, again, see the main functions of your trolling motor. You're going to get the operational mode, your battery life, your GPS signal strength. So everything that you can see on that little display on the trolling motor, you're basically going to see here. You do have a feature called point and go with gesture steering, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Wireless data transfer through the remote. There's 4 user programmable keys here you can see on the remote. And if you're familiar with some of our Echo brand Echo Map units, we have 4 keys as well there. You can actually make custom combo screens on your chart plotter, and just like saving a radio station in your car, you have 4 stations you can save your favorites. So on the remote, let's say we're on a chart screen, you want to go to your Panoptic screen or your Live Scope screen, and you have it stored in number 1, just click the number 1 and that screen on your chart plotter will automatically change. So you don't have to bend down and change your screen. Again, the remote is designed to be rugged. It floats, it's waterproof, and again, it runs off 2 AA batteries, and there is a little button on the side to turn the unit on and off. But again, you'll get about a year worth of fishing off out of a pair of batteries. So we added a few autopilot functions to the trolling motor remote. There's a heading, course over ground hold. So again, if you've got a certain heading you want to go or a course you want to go, you can just point the boat in that direction, hit that button, and you'll stick to that heading or that course. It does have an anchor lock feature with jog. The really nice thing about the Force Trolling Motor, this feature, is that on the competitors' motors, I'm pretty sure you can only go 5 feet in any direction. With ours, let's say I wanted to go 10 feet in front of me and 5 feet to the right, I can hit this button twice and this button once, and it's going to take me in a diagonal to that spot. Very nice feature. So if you see a bass or something bust the surface, maybe it's about 20 feet up and 10 feet to the left. You hit this button 4 times, this button twice, and instead of going like this, it's going to actually take you in a diagonal to that spot. One of the coolest features is the gesture steering. If you hold this button down right here, you can just point and shoot. It's the remote, and that trolling motor will actually follow your hand. So you can actually zigzag, or maybe you see something bust the surface, or you see something in the water you want to go to. Just hold that button down, point the remote to it, the trolling motor will automatically turn and go in that direction. One of the coolest features of the trolling motor. You also can control, if you do your software update, to Chartplotter from the control the trolling motor from the Chartplotter. So again, you're going to have this menu bar that you can put up on top of the screen or below, on the bottom of the screen, and you have full control of the trolling motor through your Chartplotter as well. Again, make sure you guys are doing your software updates through Active Captain. That is the only way you can update the trolling motor, is through the Active Captain app. So one of the newest things we just added with the latest software update was the trolling motor arrival mode. So our trolling motor, if you want to do a route or a waypoint, the trolling motor will go to that destination. And if you do the latest software update, as soon as you get to that waypoint or the end of that route, that last turn, the trolling motor will go into anchor lock. Okay, really nice feature. Remember, guys, our trolling motor will not follow a contour, a depth contour, but it will follow a route, a track. You can actually make a route following your contours, and the trolling motor will follow that. And again, this new feature, as soon as it gets to that spot, that ending point, the anchor lock will deploy. So that is very easy. You just go into your settings, get into the arrival mode, and you can hit manual or anchor lock. And again, once I get to that waypoint, once I get to that X marks the spot or the end of that waypoint, that anchor lock will deploy, and now you can get to fishing. One of the coolest features we just added. So compatible chart plotter. So of course, with the 84, 8600s, that's our newer series, GPS map series. The Force Trolling Motor will also work with the 74 and 7600s, the 1042, 1242 series. the EcoMap Ultra series, as well as the EcoMap Plus and UHD series. So if you already have one of these units and you get a force trolling motor, all you have to do is do a software update and you have full connectivity. So we do recommend that if you are running a force trolling motor, you're running a 60 amp breaker. Make sure your plug is also rated for 60 amps. And I know Marinco makes a really good plug that will work great with our trolling motor. There's several accessories that are available for our trolling motor. We have spare props. One really nice feature about our trolling motor, anybody's prop will work on our trolling motor. So if you have a competitor's prop, one of your favorite props, it will work on our trolling motor. The only thing is our prop will not work on the competitor's trolling motor. If you have a quick release mount, it's the same hole pattern. So anybody's quick release mount will work with the holes will match up. So you can use anybody's quick release mount. We do have replacement foot pedals, remotes. There's tons of different parts available for this motor. So if anything breaks or you need to replace anything, we have parts available. There is a replacement nose cone. So if you do want to run a competitor's transducer, you can just purchase one of the nose cones here. We are using the same warranty system as the competitors do. So, if you do have an issue with our trolling motor, please contact Garmin or contact one of your trolling motor service centers around the U.S. We are training them, been training them the past year, so they should be able to service your motor. I know that was quick, guys, but I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact marine.training@garmin.com. Again, put force trolling motor in the subject line and we'll get those questions answered as quick as we can. Thank you again, and get out on the water.